wear your clogs.
Clogs are not wildly sexy.
At least they're comfy. Depends what you want.
Oh, what's she raving
Searched me. She's getting more like Hilda Ogden every day. Boris, is it them kids again?
Just look at this lot. Look at it. Filthy.
Ooh, what is it? Me can Petty.
Has the washing line broke or something?
Has he taken us like broken? That rotten kid came back and unhooked it, didn't he? First the football, now this.
Thump his other ear, did you? Well, I hope you did.
I didn't catch him, did I? But I will. No danger.
I'll never get these marks out.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mavis. I really can't believe he did it on purpose.
You keep saying that, Emily. I'm telling you, he did.
But Mr. Dawson seems a very straight sort of man.
Well, you're only saying that because he's given you a good job as manageress.
Oh, nothing of the sort. I do happen to pride myself I'm a good judge of character. I simply refuse to accept it. Deliberately get the Faircloughs into trouble.
Well, it's obvious he didn't want any competition from us.
But if Mr. Dawson had ever thought the cabin was a threat, he'd hardly have opened a sandwich bar next door.
He would if he knew he could get us closed down without any bother.
I'm sorry, Mavis. I think you're jumping to a lot of unfounded conclusions.
Oh, it's not a conclusion, it's a fact. Look, ask Mr. Roberts. It was him that found out it was Mr. Dawson who reported us to the town hall for not having proper toilet facilities.
Well, I'm still sure there must be some explanation.
Oh, yes, there is. Your Mr. Dawson is a person totally lacking in principle. Well, Rita might have her moods and a temper, but I know which of the two I'd rather work for.
I saw you were still here. Do you mind if I come in?
Be with you in a minute, though. How do you reckon we're doing then?
Just about back to normal. Talk about a bull in a china shop.
What do you think of these, Mrs. Bishop? Nice colour, aren't they?
They're very attractive.
They should be for what they cost. Still, we want the place to have a bit of class, don't we? Looks like we can open round about the end of next week, then.
Well, that's pushing it a bit. There's still a painting to be done, and there's that panelling you want doing at the front.
You'll do it. As long as I keep breathing down your neck.
Yeah, well, I'm off. I'll see you in the morning.
Good night.
Good night.
How do you think it's shaping up, Mrs. Bishop?
Very well.
Do you think you're going to like working here? If you're going to work for me, there's one thing you've got to know. I set great store by enthusiasm. I'm not frightened of rolling my sleeves up and buckling to myself, so I expect the same of my staff. All right.
I'm not afraid of hard work, Mr. Dawson.
Well, then what is it? You look about as thrilled at the prospect of starting work here as if you were being fed to the lions.
It's not my business, but...
When people say that, it usually isn't their business. But go on.
I was rather disturbed by... Well, by a conversation I had with the people in the cabin next door.
Oh, so that's it. Painted me as the big bad wolf, are they? Frightened you off, have they?
Oh, no. I don't take everything I hear for the gospel truth.
So you want to hear it straight from the horse's mouth, do you? Quite right. I'd do the same in your place. Well, the truth about that little episode is just what I told Len Fairclough when he came storming in here. I was at the town hall. They said I'd have a couple of lavatories installed here. I said, were they sure? Because a similar business right next door didn't have any. Just trying to save myself a bob or two, that's all.
I see.
Of course, he didn't believe me, Fairclough. I can't say I blame him. I dare say I'd have done exactly the same if it had been the other way round. The thing is, Mrs. Bishop, do you believe me?
Yes, Mr. Dawson, I do.
Good lass. So I suggest we forget about next door and start concentrating on this place, eh? I want to put a full-page ad in the Gazette for Friday. They'll give us a nice write-up. You can get onto that. Chat them into sending a photographer round for the opening, eh?
Have you decided what you're calling it yet?
I've one or two thoughts. But I was hoping you might have some bright ideas in that department.
Me?
Yes, you. You strike me as being a very creative sort of a lady. I'll bet you can come up with exactly the right thing.
Well, I'll have to put my thinking cap on.
That's the ticket.
Oh, Elsie, have a heart. We can't go to the laundrette now. I'm meeting a couple of fellas at 7 o'clock.
Tough.
Won't it do tomorrow?
No, it will not do tomorrow.
I'm not having my stuff lying here all night. Stink to high heaven. You may or may not have noticed that the yard hasn't been swept or polished for months. And plus the fact a couple of cats have adopted it as a place of rendezvous.
But Elsie...
No, it's your turn. I did it this morning, you do it this afternoon.
But we can't go up the laundrette now. It'll be packed out. We'll be there hours.
So, do it here.
Here.
We have a sink, some washing powder and some hot water.
You mean do it by hand,
Ye
don't you?
gods, anybody would think I was asking you to go down to the river and scrub it on a stone. Of course do it by hand. How do you think we managed before washing machines were invented? Suppose you two have never heard of them dirty words like dolly tub and mangle.
I hate washing.
All right, so join a nudist colony and that'll cut your problems down.
You'd have more problems in a nudist colony. You can't wear a paddy bra there. Come on, kid.
Come on, where?
We might as well get stuck in. It's no use arguing with her.
I've just done me rotten nails. If I see that kid, I'll boil him, never mind thump him.
Oh, we're really quite angry with her, and I regret it now. Emily's the last person I'd want to upset. Oh, but she did get me irritated. Did you know how people can sometimes?
Only too well. Anyway, why should you feel guilty?
I don't know, I always do.
That's your trouble. You always put yourself in it wrong.
Oh, but I wasn't I?
What's so terrible about warning her what sort of devious, double-crossing so-and-so it is she's going to work for? Amazes me how Emily could even contemplate taking a job with a bloke like that.
Well, you quite liked him yourself till you found out about this.
I never did. I was just being civil, that's all. Shouldn't have wasted my time.
Well, Emily's convinced he didn't inform on you deliberately.
Oh, no, it was just a little slip. Could have cut his tongue out first. Look, I'm not being bitchy, but don't you think at your age it's time you grew up?
If by grown up you mean cynical, no, I don't. I don't automatically think the worst of people
Like me? Go on, say it. I don't set off thinking the worst of everybody, you know. In fact, I'd quite like to believe that everybody was loving and kind and good to his neighbour. For in business, it's dog eat dog. That's what Joe Dawson's doing. Not illegal, but I don't have to like him for it.
You make him sound like a monster.
No, just a sharp operator where the pound in his pocket's concerned.
Well, I can't see Emily getting on with a man like that at all.
I don't know what you're thanking me for. I've done notes.
Well, it was you that found out about Joe Dawson for me, wasn't it?
Yeah, what good's that done you?
Well, at least I know what kind of a louse I'm dealing with, don't I?
What are you going to do?
I damn near did.
Yeah, well, Alf means about the cabin, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, are you keeping the cafe on the wall?
Well, what do you expect me to do? Him telling on us like that. He wanted me to close up, didn't he? I've got a nasty shock coming for him.
Yeah, but Len, supposing they insist on you putting in those lavatories.
All right, so I install them.
Yeah, but you've got to take the space off somewhere, haven't you?
No.
Yeah, somewhere otherwise occupied by paying customers, and you've not got a lot of them.
Yeah, so what's the point if you're going to lose profits?
Are you two telling me that you want me to let that gorilla get away with it?
Well, if it makes economic sense,
Yeah,
yes.
and bearing in mind that your present financial situation is not exactly rosy.
Talk about Job's comforters.
Yeah, but look, Len, all we're saying is just cool down before you do anything. I mean, you don't want to think about what Dawson's going to gain. Think about what you're going to lose. And can you afford it?
I always thought she was her daughter by her first husband.
Oh, no, she married him.
So she's Will's daughter, the second husband.
If you want to be charitable, I don't recall them ever actually getting to the altar.
And she sweeps into Our Lady Fiddler's meetings as if she were the Queen Mother.
Yes, some women do give themselves airs and graces they're not entitled to.
And going on interminably about the wedding dress bought from Kendall's, the luncheon for 150 guests provided by she and dear Wilf, with real champagne. Nothing but the best for my Arlene.
Well, it was always a little gold mine, the wheat sheep, you know. I remember that funny belle she then was when she was in munitions. Picking Tillotson's down Cayley Street. Used to come into the corner shop every morning for 3 cigarettes and a paper bag, with a piddy and her slippers on.
You know, next time I see dear Frances, I'll remind her of those happy, carefree days. Nothing like a bit of nostalgia, is there?
Not finished yet?
No, I haven't. My fingers are like wrinkled prunes and my wrists are aching that much I feel like my hands are going to drop off.
Yeah, my nail polish has come off. Oh, Elsie, why can't we have a washing machine?
We had a washing machine till you two did it in, remember?
It could be repaired.
Which would have cost 45 quid, which you two couldn't afford, and I certainly wasn't going to fork out for that. We had a summit meeting about it at the time, remember?
Where are you going?
To the Rovers. Any objections?
Yeah, we think you're rotten. You could at least give us a hand. You know we've got a date tonight.
Yes, which is more than I've got in my time of trouble. Surely you don't begrudge me a low gin and tonic, do you? Or do you?
I hope them kids don't cause any more trouble.
Oh, I don't think they will. How else he packs a punch like Muhammad Ali? Why else me I'm doing this flaming washing?
You've lost your oppo tonight then, Oggy. Eh? Well, I thought you couldn't sup without Eddie Yates propping your elbow.
Oh, he's got a date.
A date? What kind of a date?
Haven't forgotten what a date is, have you?
No, but I thought Eddie Yates had. Who is she anyhow?
Oh, some woman. He's balmy.
Oh, she is, you bet.
Oh, now don't be like that, Fred.
Be like what?
Sour grapes.
Is it Eckers like Elsie? Hey, I'll show you my little black book one of these days.
I wouldn't flash that about if I were you, Fred. You might be had up under the Obscene Publications Act.
I'm told our father's an Elsie Tanner in here.
Well, yes. You found her, love.
Are you Elsie Tanner, then?
Yes, I am, but who are you?
I'm Mrs. Pierce, Jason's mother.
Oh, that one.
Look, my lad came home sobbing his heart out tonight. He had a big red wheal across his face. He says you belted him.
Yes, I did, and I'll do it again.
Oh, you admit it, then?
Yes, I do, and I'll do it again twice as hard for dragging my clothesline in the muck.
You'll do no such thing.
Oh, won't I
A
just?
grown woman like you striking an innocent little kid.
Innocent? Have you heard him talk lately? It'd make a docker blush.
Look, all kids give cheek. That doesn't give you the right to go around belting them,
hang
especially
on,
my
ladies.
Jason.
Will you put a
and
sock
get
in
into
it?
football and all.
Because he was slamming it against my front door all
We
afternoon.
were only playing. He's not much more than a child.
I'll tell you what he is. He's a little yob, and I can see now where he gets it from.
You'll not talk to me like that.
Oh, won't I? Just you watch it, else you'll get what he got.
That is absolutely it. Out, both of you.
You what?
Out.
It was her that come in here slanging me.
Out, and I mean
I've
it.
said all I have to say. I were going anyway.
Did you get the ball back, Mum?
Oh, sure. Get off home. You cause us enough
His
trouble
ball
for
back.
one day.
He took his ball. That's stealing. He wants his ball back.
Well, he'll have to want, won't he?
Are you refusing to give it him back?
Yes, I am, and if you've any sense, you'll be thankful that's all the action I'm taking.
Oh, it's threats now, is it? Well, let me tell you, you're not the only one who can make threats. We don't have to put up with nothing from you, nothing. So don't think you can get away with this, madam, because you're flaming well not.
Did she come to the pub? I hope you told her where to get off.
Easy to see what type she is. Common as muck. I should have had more sense than to argue with her. But she came to that pub slanging me from hell to burn.
In the pub in front of everyone, you had a ding-dong. He always should have been there.
Shut up, Suze. So what happened?
We both got chucked out.
You both did?
Yes, in matters of this kind, Madam Walker prefers to remain neutral.
Well, I think it's a rotten shame. I think folks should bring their kids up proper.
All right. Give it a rest. I've had enough. I think I'll sit quietly and watch telly this evening. You better get off on that date of yours. Them lads will think you're not turning up. I think my blood pressure must have shot through the roof with all that aggro.
It's all right. We rang up and put it off for an hour. I can make you a nice cup of tea if you want.
Them are the kindest words I've heard today.
Poor old soul.
Watch it.
I was very disturbed when Mavis told me. Apart from anything else, I didn't like the idea of starting a new job in that sort of atmosphere. But Mr. Dawson's explained the whole thing to me, and it does appear it was entirely accidental.
Yeah, well, if that's the way you feel about it.
Oh, Mr. Dawson's a shrewd businessman, but I honestly don't think he'd do anything deliberately underhand.
No, well, you're giving him the benefit of the doubt, aren't you? I mean, I can't blame you. I mean, you have to work with him, don't you?
Well, it's perfectly reasonable that it should have happened the way he said it did.
Of course it is, love. And a packet of salt. I mean, the main thing is that you're happy in your work.
Oh, well, I'm sure I shall be. I'm really looking forward to it. And he's asked me to think of a suitable name for the shop.
I can think of a name for it. Skunk hole.
Oh, you don't really mean that, do you, Rita?
No. I mean somewhat worse, but I'm too much of a lady to say so. Have you finished?
Yes, as a matter of fact.
Can I have a carton of long life milk, Alf, please?
I think you're quite mistaken about Mr. Dawson, Rita.
I don't. Still, he hasn't given me a job, has he?
But that's got nothing to do with it.
Look, can I suggest you let it drop? I mean, after all, you're going to have to be working next door to each other, aren't you?
I've no quarrel with Emily. If she wants to work for a man like Dawson, that's her lookout. It's him I'm gunning for.
But isn't that rather pointless now?
I don't think so. We're not going to give up just meekly like that, you know.
Ah, well, I think Len might have other thoughts about that.
Eh?
Well, me and Ken had a word with it earlier on.
Oh, I can just imagine what it was. Put up, shut up and say now. That'd be the level of your advice, wouldn't it? Anything for a quiet life. And Ken Barlow, much as I love him, he's chicken-livered when it comes to a fight. Well, I'll tell you something. My husband may be a bit rough at times, but by God, he's got guts.
So you don't think there's enough room then?
Of course there's not enough room. There never was enough flaming room. You can't make space where there isn't any. Put a couple of lavvies in there, you haven't got room for a cup and saucer.
I suppose not.
And don't say that Joe Dawson hasn't sussed that out. He's got us beaten all ends up and he knows it.
Well, maybe not quite, Mr. Fairclough.
I'm telling you, there's no way I can comply with the regulations and still stay in business.
But that's only in relation to the cafe.
Yeah. There's no law that says you've got to have a loo in a newsagent, is there? But no doubt there soon will be.
No, what I meant was perhaps you could convert the space in the cafe into something different, something more profitable. I mean, we never did make much out of snacks.
Like what? A sauna bath? A strip club?
Music?
What, a disco? Ah, you've got to have a license for that, never mind.
Oh, no, don't be silly, Mr. Fairclough. No. Oh, I'm sorry, but... No, what I meant was selling records. Well, it's big business, isn't it?
I don't know, is it?
Yes, it is.
I suppose you could rattle off the top 20 straight away, could you?
Oh, all right. Just forget I ever suggested anything like it. Both forget everything I say.
Pop records.
Well, not just pop, but they'd be the money spinners, wouldn't they? Because who buys them? Teenagers. And who's got the money to buy them? Teenagers. Not your Eddie Yates and your Stan Ogdens coming in for the cups of tea and the beans on toast. Anyway, that's what I think. So there.
I'm not surprised. I knew Marge Pace's mother, old Mrs. Clough. Do you know, during the war, people used to say, if the Germans come over here, they'd take one look at Alice Clough and they'd go straight back home.
You would think, wouldn't you, that Mrs. Tanner would have acquired a little discretion with age.
Well,
she is just as loud and vulgar as ever she was.
Oh, fair dues, Mrs. Walker. I mean, Elsie was provoked.
Yeah, maybe. That still didn't give her the right to hit him.
I thought you'd adopt that attitude, Ken. Vandals like that want flipping birching, not a tap across the face. They grow up to think they can get away with murder.
like them that shot poor Ernie Bishop.
Well, I blame the parents. It's up to them to see that children behave.
Rubbish, a lad of his age should know what's right and wrong without being told.
If you blame the parents, Mrs. Walker, how come you barred Elsie?
I will not have bad language and bad behaviour in this establishment under any circumstances. They can sort out their differences outside.
Hey, outside, I wonder what's going on out there. It'd be blood, guts and hair all over the place.
How will there be annoying having missus, I'll tell you.
I found this whole conversation rather distasteful. Could we talk about something more pleasant? Mrs. Sharples, have you heard when Mr. Dawson is officially opening his new shop?
I've no idea. Why, what's your special interest in it?
Emma's going to manage it.
Giving up a hospital job, is she?
I'm delighted for it. It'll be much more congenial. I haven't met Mr. Dawson personally, but I gather he's rather a nice man.
Joe Dawson? Cute as a cartload of monkeys, that one.
Mrs. Sharples, is there anybody you don't know?
Well, I've not yet met the Archbishop of Canterbury.
Are you sure? If he'd been back 5 minutes early, you'd have heard him yourself. He stood there, shook his head and said there was no point, they just want enough space.
Well, how much room do you need for lavies, anyway?
Well, I mean, it's not just the thing, is it? I mean, you have to have room for wash space.
I'm beginning to think there's a jinx on us.
You work late in this establishment, don't you?
We're shut, especially to you.
I've not come shopping. I saw you were still here and I thought we could have a quick word.
I've nothing at all to say to you.
Oh, come on, Mrs. Fairclough, don't be like that. You strike me as being a reasonable woman, even if your husband is a bit hot-tempered. You certainly stopped him from clobbering me this afternoon, and I'm very grateful.
Let's get one thing straight, eh? I stopped Len hitting you because I didn't want him to get in trouble. I've no interest at all in saving your skin.
Fair enough. But what I'm really here to say is, there's no sense in having bad blood between us, is there? Don't you agree, Mavis? The thing is, we're going to be neighbours, and Mrs. Bishop's going to be working for me, and I understand she's a friend of yours. So why don't we forget all this nonsense and shake hands on it, eh?
I think you'd better be going.
You dig your heels in, don't you? I'll take my hat off to you for that. Still, I must admit I'm sorry. It's not the pleasantest way to begin a new venture.
Just remember one thing, Mr. Dawson. It wasn't us who started all this trouble in the first place.
Good night, Mrs. Fairclough. Mavis?
You don't forgive very easily, do you?
No.
Have you heard from Billy lately, Mrs. Walker?
Had a letter yesterday. How nice of you to ask.
I was just wondering how we're going on, you know, with that job he went after.
Well, he hasn't heard yet. He's on the short list, and apparently his prospects are very good.
Oh, that's the way, innit? Working his way up the ladder. better than getting stuck in a rut, innit?
Is that what you feel you've done, Fred?
Well, I can't exactly say that I've achieved an awful lot in my life so far, Mrs. Walker.
You're happy, though. I think that's the main thing.
I'm happy. Well, I'm happy, all right. That's maybe my problem. I'm too idle to be ambitious and too thick to do out about it.
Well, I like you, Fred. You suit me very nicely, just the way you are.
Aye, I bet you do.
Give us a pint of sludge, Fred.
Hey, before you say anything, I might have dropped you in it with your missus.
Oh, that'll make a change, won't it? Yeah, you haven't told her about my little blonde barmaid, have you?
Oh, no. What little blonde barmaid?
I'll tell you when you're 21. No. What have you told her, anyway?
Well, about you not wanting to carry this fight on with Dawson. I don't think she was too pleased. She's no quitter, your Rita.
Well, neither am I, but you can't ignore logic, can you? You were dead right, you know. I've just been down there again. There's no way that I can comply with the regulations and still make the cafe pay.
Well, why don't you use the space for something else?
Hey, you know what Mavis suggests? That we sell records and cassettes. I think she fancies herself as a sort of a female Tony Blackburn.
I think it's a very good idea. Records are bringing the kids in, and they're the ones with all the money. You want to come over to the centre? They make me look like a charity case.
What do I know about selling records?
You don't need to. Record company does it all for you. They give you all the local trend or recent trends, pop, standards, a lot.
Yeah, it'd be a lot easier for Rita and Mavis and all instead of having to make tea and Welsh rarebits every 5 minutes.
You know that's possible.
Of course it's possible. Come on, admit it. The only reason you didn't take it seriously in the first place was because Mavis suggested it.
And now that's very possible.
You two watching the time? Them lads will begin to think you're not turning up.
I'll get it for us, Elsie. I'm just changing my time.
All right. Oh, aye, and what do you want?
I've just come to let you know I've been to the police. I've given them all the details. They'll be getting in touch.
The police? What have they got to do with it?
I told you you wouldn't get away with it just like that. You can't go around belting other people's kids whenever you feel like it. I dare say they'll be getting in touch. Ta-ra, Mrs. Tanner.
I clip a cheeky kid round the ear hole and suddenly it's the crime of the century.
Oh, take notice of her. She's bonkers.
Oh, I believe her. She's quite capable of doing anything. To think our Dennis had more claps round the ear hole than hot dinners, and so did his pals.
But what'll happen if she does go to the police?
Oh, I don't know. Deport me, clap me in the bloody tower. I don't know, do I?
Looks like Elsie's in for it. We'll be making a return trip to classic Coronation Street at the same time tomorrow here on Plus, when it's Fred's turn to go on a date. And stay with us tonight. Coming up next, The Comedians.